Well, if you were in my Discord, you might have had some hints about this a little bit early. West Virginia gets, in my opinion, right there with one of the very biggest transfer portal hauls in a long time. William Reed commits to West Virginia. Let's talk about the impact of the big right tackle on this episode of Locked On West Virginia.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And what is up? Welcome back in, guys. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. This is Locked On West Virginia. Welcome back in, guys, and thanks for being an everyday listener to the show. You guys have been a great catapult to me and my show, and it continues to grow. Brought to you by FanDuel, of course. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel takes the NFL playoffs and makes it even more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets. That's if you win your first $5 bet. You have to go to FanDuel.com to get started right now. West Virginia lands, in my opinion, behind Jormori Robinson, the most impactful transfer of the cycle. That's right. By the tape, William Reed is an absolute dog. Absolutely dominant at Princeton, which is like, it's Ivy League. It's Division I football. I would slot it just ahead of like FCS, or it may be in the same league. I'm not really sure people's opinions on that. So he's 6'6", 305 pounds, and started right around 20 games for Princeton over the last 2 years. 25 total games, if you're talking about all the games he played in. Got over 1,000 snaps, over 600 this last year. And he's from the other side of the U.S., man. Like whenever I found out this was happening, I was initially told it would be like noon, and I'm thinking, okay, and then I realized this is going to be Pacific time noon. So I'm looking, I had to do the math in my head. So this has been awesome, man. William has been amazing throughout the process. He took his time. He didn't divulge any information, really. I mean, the only thing I knew was when he took his visit that he liked it. He liked the coaches, and he thought that they had a good spot for him. And outside of that, man, he took his other visits or whatever he did the last couple of weeks. To be honest, I was getting worried about this potential commit because similar to Cam Vaughn, like he just took his time with it. And that's usually not a great sign, but it shows maturity, obviously. But a lot of times it means they've moved on. In this case, he couldn't get past the Mountaineers. I asked him who did he pick West Virginia over. He told me at the end of the day it was Georgia Tech and Arizona were the other teams involved. There were way more than that. Obviously, Pitt reached out to him, which is why they're on the thumbnail. You don't get him, Pitt. So I am told that he's going to play at the tackle spot with a chance to play at guard. We'll see. Obviously, this is going to be big. 6 offensive line commits deep now, which is hard to believe we've gotten that many. It's going to be interesting to see how this ends up working out, because I personally think that, man, he's going to be an immediate plug and play. That's first. Second, he's smart, right? He's from Princeton. This guy turned down UCLA. Like, if you go look at his profile, he could have had UCLA out of high school. He could have had multiple programs out of high school. Yet he chose Princeton at the time, because he wanted to pursue education after college football. That's so smart. Now he has an Ivy League education to hang on his wall. And he still has a chance to possibly go to the league here. It's not like this guy is a college-only player. I see some NFL traits in this guy. And, they projected him to be a Power 5 starter right out of high school, if you really read the reports. And that still tracks. So, obviously, he came to campus. He met with – the way it goes is I think they came, they met the staff, they met Coach Richard, they met Bicknell, they met Dressler, they went to dinner, they met Rich Rod, somewhere along those lines. And obviously, he loved the visit. He told me the best facilities he saw, which is great to see that. So this is going to be great. And I think they told him it's going to be his spot to lose. One of his things that he stressed to me during this was the importance of being a starter and being able to start because of the vision he has for himself. And I think that's going to be something that right alongside Xavier Bosley, I think these guys will either bookend at the tackle spots, or maybe you see him move inside the guard, gain a little bit of weight, and play guard. But either way, I think this guy finds his way into the starting lineup, absolutely. And here's what he does well. So he played right tackle. He graded out pretty well at Pro Football Focus at right around a 70. What does he do well? Well, in the run game, he's extremely – the first thing that jumps off the screen about William Reed is he's nasty. He will knock your teeth out, and he likes it. He really likes it, man. He looks for contact. He seeks out contact. He's got extremely violent hands. He's got inside hands. His elbows are tucked in. He's got a lot going on technique-wise. He doesn't hold a lot. And I love what he does in the right tackle spot. In pass pro, I think it's going to be interesting because there just isn't, at least on tape that I saw, there may be better tape that I just didn't see yet. There wasn't great examples of him in pass pros that I could get a good feel for what he's like there. But I do think that he translates. Obviously, he's super athletic. He's got a basketball background, which is why, if you go look at his high school stuff, it's a guy that was really lean coming out of school. And you can kind of see why it may have been better for him to go, maybe a group of 5 or Princeton route coming in first anyway, just because of how lean he was. I mean, he really did look like a basketball player. He looked like me kind of when I was in high school, just a little chubby, right? So this is one that I've wanted. This is like, in my opinion, I slot this in impact-wise right behind Jamori Robinson because this guy has a chance to win the right tackle job, who our starting quarterback next year is 99% sure they're going to be left-handed. If we have a right-handed starter, something's probably went wrong. So when you look at it, you say, okay, this guy is going to be extremely important to the team. He can make an impact, and he's going to probably be a starter day one, in my opinion. Like I said, I love the kid. I think he's a great. And if you go look at his Instagram page, especially, it's pretty funny, man. Like he's got some stuff where he's mic'd up on there, and I just think it's hilarious. Like he had him, he's like mic'd up, and he says to the cameraman on one of the takes, "Hey, cameraman, it'd be kind of funny if you played Sunny Day while we're walking out today to practice." And sure enough, it cuts to "When I Wake Up in the Morning Long," and that whole song playing with them. So you didn't know you were going to get serenaded today, did you? But anyways, it probably translates a bit better if you watch it, on the Instagram page, which is WILLREEDDD, 3 Ds, William Reed. Check him out, man. I like what I was told. He feels like it's a really good fit for him, and he's going to have the opportunity to contribute immediately. So there's a lot that goes into this. I think he's going to be an extremely important piece to this, and West Virginia got lucky to get him. We really did. I think that there was a chance that we could have lost him at points during this process, and for whatever reason, it's like when something sticks in your craw, right? We just couldn't get him out of our craw. So, we couldn't get out of his craw. So we're lucky that we kind of have some staying power. And like I said, this guy translates well to the offensive line. And the thing that's great about this too is he is, from what I can tell, he's got the ability to be a really good pass blocker. He just hasn't had to do it against great competition yet. In the run game, he's already there. And that's like 3/4 of the battle in this offense because it's such a run-heavy offense. He moves well. He moves people well. Watch the tape. Like I always say, you won't be disappointed if you watch William Reed's tape. I'll tell you that now. I spoke to somebody today that said, oh, real quick too, congrats to William, and thank you for being so nice to me throughout the process, man. I really mean that. You didn't have to help me or keep me, and others. There wasn't just me. Other people were, you were very nice to a lot of our fans and a lot of our listeners, my listeners. And I just want to thank you for that, man, because that was super cool. Up next on Locked On West Virginia, somebody told me that Arizona State's more talented than West Virginia, and West Virginia should be on upset alert tonight. What? Stick around. Let's talk about it. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is brought to you by FanDuel. Of course, the best. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets. That's if you win. The first $300 bet, keep the action going. It keeps it going. The FanDuel app is easy to navigate, and the variety of bets keep every game exciting. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. No waiting around for your winnings. Whether you're betting on your favorite team or just looking to add some excitement to the playoffs, FanDuel has you covered. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today and get started with $300 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the National Football League. All right. We are back here on Locked On West Virginia. So here we go. I'm just going to be honest about this, man. I am not going to give this a lot of credence, but somebody I spoke with today that doesn't know ball from time to time said something along the lines of Arizona State is more talented than West Virginia. And I thought, well, why would they say that? Because I've looked into Arizona State. They're not playing extremely well. They have been really close at times this year to winning some bigger games. They're 10-7, so conceivably they could still make the tournament. I think that's fair. With their remaining schedule, they've got some winnable games: Oklahoma State, Kansas State, Utah, BYU. So they got a few games left. It's going to be tough for them. They're going to have to win. They need this game. It's kind of a desperation game for them. But if you look at any time they played anybody that's worth anything outside of St. Mary's, they've kind of lost, right? They beat Colorado, who played us tough, but we were at Colorado and it was in the elevation. Either way, why did he tell me that Arizona State was more talented? Well, there's a couple reasons, man. They've got some really good players. Adam Miller, like I said, was the guy that Nelson Hernandez, when he was on here the other day, talked about that he saw when he was at LSU. BJ Freeman can light it up sometimes. But Jaden Quintons is probably the best freshman in the conference and one of the best in all of college basketball. The freshman, 5-star guy, plays the forward position. Eduardo Andre or Amani Hansberry are going to have their hands full with Jaden Quintons in this game. But I don't think it's a situation where they're more talented necessarily. We've got a top 40 guy in Jonathan Powell too. Don't get it twisted, man. I'm not sitting here saying that they are. But do I respect Arizona State as a basketball team? I think, yeah. They've got a 5-star, they've got 2 5-stars on the roster. So, of course, I respect them. Do I have a lot of respect for Coach Hurley? Sure, I do. I think what he did, especially at Rhode Island, was impressive. They were a perennial tournament team there from time to time. So, sure, I think they can absolutely beat us if we're not on our game tonight. But to indicate that Arizona State is more talented or that we should be on the back foot, while I think our guys play better through that mentality, hell no. There's no way. So at the end of the day, I think, West Virginia's got a great opportunity here. We have won 13 games when most people didn't expect us to win 15 games already, with quite a few games left to go in the season. And I think Arizona State is I think Darren DeVries has got this team so locked in right now that this is all business. It's got to take care of business. It's at home. Nobody comes into our house and beats us. They got to come take it from us. Yes, we're a little bit tired. Yes, we just played a couple days ago. Yes, every game we're in is close. There's no breaks for this team at all so far this year. It would be really nice if somehow West Virginia can win this game by 20 points and Javon Small can rest. That's what I'm hoping for tonight. Problem is, anytime we take him out of the game, our offensive numbers, analytics-wise, drop completely off. And I'm not all analytics because I think we do some nice things without Javon sometimes. But, man, do we ever need a guy who can initiate offense without Javon on the floor? Look for Joseph Yesufu to be able to be that guy a little bit more. I think he's just getting more comfortable over the last few games. He gave us 18 at Colorado. He had a really big bucket when it was tied last week. And I think he's a guy that is going to be extremely key as we go down the stretch and could possibly give, obviously KJ Tenner's still coming back from an injury. I think it's kind of slowed him down a lot, even though he played great defense last game. So used to seeing last week in football. I think Yesufu is the kind of the wild card, a little microwave, a guy that could come off and give you 18 points to the bench, right? A guy that could come off the bench and give you 7 or 8 really good minutes. A guy that's played at Kansas, played at Drake, played in big games, has the most experience maybe of anybody in the roster. And I think in this game here against Arizona State, where they play 3 guards, 2 bigs, and West Virginia plays a little bit more of a 5-out, right? Where you've got literally, especially if it's Hansberry at the 5, you've got, 3 really good ball handlers, 1 decent ball handler, and Hansberry out there. Then you're talking about, okay, you can create some mismatches too on your end. And I just can't wait to see what Darren DeBreeze, how he attacks this. Will we play a little bit more of Hansberry and Andre together, which I think is kind of fun. In the tournament, maybe that'll be even better if we, assuming we make it. But I just hope this team doesn't run out of gas. That's my biggest fear as we come down the stretch. And I hope we haven't peaked too soon. I would love to find a way for this team to get some rest, obviously. But at the same time, I don't want us to lose any momentum. It's one of those weird situations where you're afraid to take any extra time off because you'll lose momentum. You're afraid to – obviously they're not afraid. This is me as a fan speaking. You're afraid for them to take too much time off because they'll get stale or rusty. And so, I think DeBreeze and those guys are going to know. But he's got tournament experience. He knows how to keep their bodies right and ready to roll. So in this game, I think you look at a couple things. What does Arizona State do bad? Well, they turn it over a lot. One of the worst turnover margins in the country. What does West Virginia do really well? Well, they turn people over. They took an Iowa State team that never turns it over totally out of their game and made them look like fools on national TV the other day. And with our ball pressure, it just can get insane at times. So I think West Virginia is going to make this a physical game. We're going to be at home. We should have a nice whistle. So I think West Virginia is going to comfortably win this game. I said it earlier. I said it on other shows. There is no series history also to lean on, and I think that's interesting. Obviously, we were rolling coming off the Iowa State win, 3-1, 2-0 versus top 5 teams, 3-1 versus top 10 teams, and 4-1 versus ranked teams this year. Arizona non-con 9-2, which is pretty impressive, but man, they got in a tournament and it's just kind of been So, but you look at Hosan Sanan as well as another guy that I forgot about to mention earlier. Man, he's been really intriguing to see. And then the spread in this game, which I'm trying to find. I thought I looked at it earlier, but let's see. I had it with FanDuel, I thought, and then I kind of missed it. Let me see if I can. Let's see. Do versus Arizona State spread. All right. So it looks like it says we are 8.5 point favorites. That's about in line with where I would put it. So sure, I'll take that. I think West Virginia's got a really good chance, like I said, to run away with this game, 15, 18, maybe 20 points if we're lucky. And this is going to be a fun one. So hold on to your hats, because if West Virginia can win this game, guys, this is where I wanted to go next. You start to look at West Virginia as a seeded team in the tournament. and it starts to get really interesting. Most people have West Virginia in that 5 spot right now, which is a scary place to be because the 12-5 upsets happen every year. But I certainly think that, we would take that based on what we were supposed to start the year. But like I said the other day, West Virginia has won 13 games, right? Never did I expect us to be here this far along, that part of the season. And let's do it one more time. On the other end of the break, I'm going to show you a way for West Virginia to possibly get the 25 wins. Don't think I'm crazy. Just stick around and watch for that. This is Locked On West Virginia. Stick around. And this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. The money, sports, action. Real money, sports, action with over 10 million members and billions in winnings. Prize Picks has changed the game in daily fantasy sports. Whether it's the playoffs or the regular season, Prize Picks has made it easier than ever to win big while enjoying football action. Now it's playoff time, and there's no better way to get in the action with Prize Picks, and here's how it works. You simply pick more or less than 2 players at least, and if your picks hit, you can win up to $1,000 cash. That's right, 1,000 times your money just by making a few simple picks. Hot takes are where it's at. Get ready to run your game this season. Download the app and use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right, $50 for just playing. Don't wait and take your game to the next level with Prize Picks at Prize Picks and run your game. All right, we are back on Locked On West Virginia. So let's recap really quick. Okay. William Reed commits to West Virginia, and like I said, this is a big one, in my opinion. Picked West Virginia over Georgia Tech, Arizona, and others. 6'6", 305 pounds, can move, played basketball in college, projects as a tackle or guard, wherever they can put him. They cross-train guys anyways, even I think this group will too. Matt Moore did it. I think this group will. I think it's pretty common in college football these days. But like I said, to recap, I think William Reed slots in right there with Jamoy Robinson and Michael Coach Jr. as 1, 2, and 3 in any order. Obviously, Robinson's got to be number 1. You can give me Coates or William Reed into that second or third spot transfer portal-wise. So I think those are great pickups for the staff. And listen, we need to be bumped up a little bit now. These last 2 pickups in the portal have been massive pickups that anybody would want. Georgia Tech, Arizona, Pitt, Arizona State, Nebraska wanted this guy. So don't give it to me. Like, seriously. Like, we need to be bumped up from 13. I'm about to do an episode on how underrated our transfer portal class is because it freaking is. All right, let's talk a little more basketball. But before that, nobody make fun of me. I ran out of Mountain Dew and Dr. P. So how about we go with some this? I knew my mouth was going to get dry, so I brought a 2-liter of Pepsi over to the table with me. I don't even drink Pepsi that often. All right, so people wonder why I'm a hefty boy. All right, so what I was saying about West Virginia basketball, I wanted to show you guys the path to possibly 22, 23, 24, dare I say 25 games for this team. Okay, so none of these are gimmies, and I'm not saying that they are, but let's look at it how West Virginia, they're ranked 23rd now. So let's just go by if you're favored in a game, and we'll have a couple toss-ups in there. Like I'm going to pick against West Virginia in a couple games they're favored in for now. But for generally speaking, West Virginia, I'm going to pick them to win a game they're favored in. But I am going to go the other way on a couple just to balance it out. Obviously, this isn't an exact science. This is just a fun exercise. Did you hear me? This is just a fun exercise. Okay, so don't lose your minds on me. Arizona State, West Virginia today at 9 o'clock. I think West Virginia wins that game. Arizona State's coming off a skid of games where they're not playing so well. So I think West Virginia wins that game. I also think West Virginia beats the really bad Kansas State team, who's somehow the worst team in the conference. And then West Virginia plays Houston. So that's 13, 14, 15, and 4. Houston, I think that's a loss. Even at home, I'll give it to Houston because of how good they're playing. That's 15-5. Cincinnati, I'll give us one loss there. That's 15-6. Now you got TCU and Utah. I think that's 18-6. BYU's 19-6. Let's go a loss to Baylor. There's 19-7. Let's say we beat Cincinnati this time at home. That's 20-7. There's a loss to Texas Tech. There's 20-8. There's TCU. There's 21-8. There's BYU. There's 22-8. There's Utah. There's 23-8. And there's UCF. There's 24-8. And you saw how many losses I gave us, 3 or 4 more losses, a couple of those against teams that we could generally should beat. As long as we don't get injured and as long as we don't run out of gas, there's no reason this team can't win between 23 and 26 games. I'm telling you, this team, if everything goes totally right, let's just say that the only team this team loses to is Houston on the way out, which ain't going to happen, but let's just say it can happen. Teams get hot. It happens every year. So that would be 13, 14, 15, and 4, 15-5. So that would be, let's see, 26. What was that? 26-5 overall. Let me make sure though. 13, 14, 15, and 5, 16-5, 17-5, 18-5, 19-5, 20-5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-5. Yeah, 26-5. So that would be one heck of a record, and you're talking about a top 2 seed at that time, especially if you go on a run like that where what would that put us down the stretch? So we've won 1 in a row, so that'd be, I guess in a row to end the season, that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 game win streak at the end of the year. I just don't see it happening. We're going to drop a couple, like I said, to Baylor. UCF might get us. I even think Utah's played well. At Utah, it can be tough. So we're going to lose a couple, but man, if things go right, if everything goes the way it should and this team doesn't get tired, it's all out for grabs. It's all out for grabs. Could you imagine this team with no expectations, really no roster, guys? We play 6 guys and a couple bench players, but it's like Javon Small and everybody else, and everybody contributes on defense to the extreme. It's not in the stat sheet. What they do on defense is as much as any other team would do on offense. But, the thing is for us to actually win in big games, we need a secondary contributor. And there's a pretty good chance that either Amani or JP are both going to be off in the games at some point in time. Let's just hope it doesn't happen in the tournament. I think what's fun about this team, too, is they're going to be built to win in the tournament. Think about all the close games this team has had to play. A 1-point game at Fall Gallon, guys. A one possession game against Iowa State in the last 2-3 minutes of the game. You had 3 overtime games in Maui. When it comes to the tournament, there won't be a more better prepared team in college basketball than West Virginia. I said in college basketball. You had 1 possession game against Gonzaga, 1 possession game against Louisville, who's on fire, 1 possession game against Arizona, who is also on fire. You had 1 possession games against Kansas. At one time, that was against Iowa State. So, it's insanity to me that this team is in the spot it's at. And if West Virginia wins that many games, you might as well give Darren DeVries definitely Big 12 Coach of the Year. But like he should be in the National Coach of the Year discussion. And if that happens, Ren, I hope you've already made the extension happen, dude, behind closed doors. Because that's, I think, a fear we all have. And I've spoken to people close to the situation. He's happy, doesn't want to leave. But here's the thing. They didn't get a lot of NIL support this year. They just didn't. They're doing this with 2 freshmen in high school as a big part of the rotation. Right? So, they were able to go out and flip another freshman that we shouldn't even had to fill out this roster. And then you're relying on 2 guys that were supposed to be rotational pieces when you got them in. Hansberry was maybe supposed to be a starter. Maybe they envisioned him. Sincere Harris was not supposed to play this big of a role this fast, but he has. I mean, he was going to play a big role, but I don't think he was supposed to be playing 25, 30 minutes a game right away. You don't expect Tucker to go down, obviously. But outside of that, man, this team has just crushed it. They really have. All right, guys. Thanks for joining. I will catch you next time. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen. Check out Locked On Big 12 for your second listen, guys. And I will check you next time. William Reed's a big get, obviously. I'll be post-game after Arizona State tonight. It'll be late, but I'll be here because I know you'll want to see it, especially if we win big. I'll see you after tonight, guys. Hey, go blow William Reed up. Follow him on X. Follow him on Instagram. He deserves it. He's a great guy. And let's go, man. Things are going well for us right now. Nuclear hot piss right now, baby. By the way, the shirt that I'm coming out with is going to have a thermometer on it, warm, hot, nuclear on it, with warm, hot, nuclear. With I'm going to try to get Rich Rod's face. I don't know about the name, using someone's likeness. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to land, but I think it's okay. Somebody sent me something last night. As long as I either own it or get permission, maybe. But I think Rich Rod's face with, what the piss level is, nuclear, hot, warm. So that's the idea. How many of you guys would want that? Let me know. That would be fun. I also got a couple other ideas that I'll throw at you periodically, but we ain't got time for that right now. Holler at me in the comments. Let me know what you have to say about it. I'll holler at you next time, guys. I'm out of here. See you after the show or after the game tonight. Good night.